This Saturday we will for the first time ever see a duo winning the ZrT Trackmania Cup. 8 different duos has qualified to the event in Strasbourg, France. So to prepare yourself for the semi-final and the grand final, why not check out how the qualification to the event went. Round 1. The first round of the qualifications had 1,496 duos participating on the 20 different servers. In total, 600 duos would advance into round 2. So for the duos who had the hopes of making it to Strasbourg, this round was more or less a warm-up. However, if you look at the 8 duos who made it, we can see that 7 out of the 8 duos won their match, and was only in fact Pack and Aurel who didn't win their match. They placed second behind Spam and Rollin. Round 2. The second round of the tournament had 600 duos in it. The round had 10 different servers with top 30 on each server advancing. So once again, more or less a free round for the favorites. This round, 6 out of the 8 duos who made it to Strasbourg won their match. Spam and Rolling got second behind Default and Glast, while Ayako and Vocile finished third behind Revolution and Matt, as well as finishing behind Ceramics and Funny Bear. Round 3. Once we entered the third round of the event, there was only 5 different servers for 300 different duos. Top 160 overall would advance into round 4. The winners on the 5 different servers were Badlulu and Scrappy, Wingo Bear and Gwen, Carl Jr. and Bren, Spam and Rollin, and Artonine and ZeratoR. Aurel and Pack finished second behind Team Ballin, Revolution and Matt finished third behind Badlulu and Scrappy, and finishing behind Legu and Tricky as well. Ayako and Vocile finished fourth, while Papu and Cap finished fifth in the match of Spam and Rollin. Round 4. Entering round 4 we had 160 duels, whereas top 80 would advance into the next round. The 160 duels was spread over 4 different servers. On server 1 we saw Papu and Cap winning in front of Spam and Rollin. Server 2 had Pack and Aurel winning in front of Badlulu and Scrappy, with Revolution and Matt finishing 5th. On server 3 we saw Wingo Bear and Gwen taking home the win, and the winners of the last servers were Carl Jr. and Bren, with Ayako and Vocile finishing third. Round 5. The last round on Saturday we saw 80 different duels going down to 32. For many, the goals beforehand was to reach day 2. Once again we had 4 different servers. On server 1, Badlulu and Scrappy won, while Papu and Cap finishing third. Server 2 had Pack and Aurel as the winners, with Revolution and Matt taking second, and Ayako and Vocile taking third. On server 3 we saw Wingo Bear and Gwen ending their day with a perfect score of 5 matches and 5 wins. Another duo who won 5 out of 5 matches on day 1 was Carl Jr. and Bren. They won on server 4 in front of Spam and Rollin. Round 6. Day 2 started off with 32 duels. 8 duels on the 4 different servers. Top 4 on each server would advance into the last step of the qualification. On server 1 we saw Scrappy and Badlulu taking first in front of Revolution and Matt. Pack and Aurel, who won their match on server 2, ended up scoring the highest score on all servers overall. While on server 3, Wingo Bear and Gwen continued their streak of wins and won in front of Papu and Cap at second, with Spam and Rolling taking third. And another duo who wanted a perfect score was Carl Jr. and Bren, winning on server 4 and taking their 6th out of 6 wins. They won in front of Ayako and Wosile. Round 7. The last step of the qualification had 4 different quarterfinals. 4 duos in each of them, and the 2 best duos from each match would advance into the semi-final and to Strasbourg. Unlike the rest of the event so far, players would now collect points individually, with both players needing to reach finalist status themselves as well as winning a round in finalist mode. In the first quarterfinal we had Bad Lulu and Scrappy, Spam and Rollin, Across and Memler, and Weezo and Dark. On map 1 it was Bad Lulu from Team Pax who started off the best, leaving the map as the leader in front of Weezo, Spam and Dark, while Spam's teammate Rollin was placing last. The standings after map 2 had ended was more or less the same. The only notable movement was that Rollin went from last to 6th. On map 3 we saw Bad Lulu reaching finalist status as the first player. His first finalist attempt in the last round on that map looked good until the very end. So once we left map 3 it became more and more clear that this was a fight between 3 different duos. Bad Lulu's second finalist attempt ended up like the first one, unsuccessfully. But hey, I guess the third time is the charm. Well, not for Bad Lulu, who once again failed his finalist attempt. In Bad Lulu's fourth attempt he was able to drive a solid round, but sadly for him, Across was just a little bit faster. Now entering the fourth round on the map and Bad Lulu's fifth finalist attempt, he was no longer finalist by himself. His teammate Scrappy had also reached finalist status as well as Weezo. And the round ended up being an intense battle with all 3 finalists, but in the end it was Scrappy who took home the round win. But before Scrappy could book his ticket to Strasbourg, his teammate Bad Lulu had to finish off his part of the job, now entering his 6th finalist attempt. And when you thought Bad Lulu would become a victim of finalist status and break under the pressure, he was able to take a round win needed. And Team Pax was the first duo who qualified to the semi-final and to Strasbourg. Now with only one spot left for a duo, both Weezo and Dark from Be Genius had reached finalist status. While Team Bowling it was just Spam who had reached finalist status, while Rollin was 15 points away when we left map 4. In the first round on map 5, Spam had a chance of finishing his part of the job and tried to catch up to Across who had the round lead. However, Across was able to keep Spam behind him. And Across, who didn't have much chances at qualifying himself to the event considering how far behind his teammate Memler was, still took the next round win as well. Due to Across denying the 3 finalists their win, it allowed Rollin to catch up to the others. Rollin was now only 6 points away from finalist status. And in the next round, Rollin won the round and entered finalist status as well. Now we had 5 players in finalist status and Memler was the only one who hadn't reached it yet. And it's safe to say that this map was a good one for Across, taking home the round win as well in the next round. Now all he had to do was to hope that Memler would do a miracle. In the last round of the map it was Spam who took the control over the round and secured himself the win. However, being part of a duo, you cannot celebrate until both has done their part of the job. Once we switched map, we saw the two finalists Rollin and Viso fighting for the round win. A win for Rollin would mean that the match was over and Team Bolin had secured themselves a spot in Strasbourg. However, it was Viso who claimed the win just in front of Rollin. Now we had 3 players waiting for their partner. Spam waited for Rollin, Viso waited for Dark, while Across waited for a miracle. Sadly for Across, the miracle didn't occur, and it was Rollin who kept his head cool and secured Team Bolin a spot in Strasbourg. In the second quarterfinal we had Pack and Arrel, Papu and Cap, Ceramics and Funny Bear, and Step and Snow. On the first map it was the two Gamers Origin duos who started off the best, with Pack having the most success by far, taking home 45 out of 50 points on the first map. Leaving the second map, the story continued to be the same, Pack having the lead and the two Gamers Origins duo being in charge. However, Funny Bear had now overtaken Papu, who was now down at 5th. Pack, who had dominated the match so far, entered finalist status already after the second round on map 3 was played out. In Pack's first attempt he had the chance at winning it if he just nailed the finish. Sadly for him, his aim wasn't perfect this round, and in his second attempt it was his teammate Arrel who looked to take the win, but failing the finish allowed Pack to have the chance once again at making it. But this time it was Funny Bear who denied him. And so far in this quarterfinal it looks like the ones who reached finalists first struggles to close it out. And the third time wasn't a charm for Pack either, and once we had switched the map, Pack teammates Arrel, who took the round win and now also entered finalist status. One win for each of the players would now mean that the duo had secured a spot in Strasbourg. And unlike Pack, but like Scrappy, Arrel was able to finish off his finalist status in the first attempt. Now all he had to do was to wait for Pack to close out on his finalist status. Pack entered now his 6th finalist attempt, and just when he thought that Pack would win the round, he didn't have enough speed to make the finish jump. And now Pack entered his 7th finalist attempt. But the 7th time wasn't a charm either for the British player, and now Papu and Cap from the other Gamers Origin duo also entered finalist status. But the following round neither of the Gamers Origin players won. It was instead Funny Bear who took the round win and entered finalist status. And just to make sure you keep track of the attempts, Pack now entered his 9th attempt, Papu and Cap entered their 2nd attempt, while Funny Bear had his 1st attempt in finalist status. And for some people the 3rd time is the charm, while for Pack 3 times 3 is the charm, and he was able to finally close it out, and Gamers Origin Red had secured himself a spot in the semi-finals. And in the next round Papu was able to win, and if Cap now just won the next round, we would have the two Gamers Origin duos making it into the semi-finals. And in the following round it was Cap who had the control from the start and was able to take the win needed for Gamers Origin Black to advance into the semi-finals and to Strasbourg. In the third quarterfinal we had Wingo Bear and Gwen, Ayako and Wosile, Dofault and Glass, and Ins and Knock. On the first map it was a Sealand winner Wingo Bear who took the lead, while his teammate Gwen placed 3rd. Besides that, it was rather close between the 3 other duos. Once we left the second map, Gwen had moved up from 3rd to 2nd, and the duo now found themselves having the control of yet another match. The duo Ayako and Wosile had moved up to 3rd and 4th. Leaving the 3rd map, Wingobear was still in the lead, but now having Dofold from Mint behind him. Gwen was in 3rd, while Glass from Mint was in 4th. But even with having his teammate leading the whole match, it was Gwen who became the first to reach finalist status. And for the first time in this quarterfinal, we saw a player who reached finalist status first having success in finalist mode. Gwen was able to close it out in his first attempt. Now Wingobear, who also became finalist, just had to win, and the duo would take their 7th out of 7 wins. Dofold from Mint also entered the next round as a finalist. However, the next round was won by Ins in front of Glass. Glass now also entered finalist status, and in his first attempt, Glass won the round. And if Dofold just would win a round now, Team Mint would be on their way to Strasbourg. But the player who won the next round was the guy who had the lead most of the match, Wingobear. He took the win and secured himself and Gwen a spot in the semi-finals. Ayako and Wosile from Reflex was now both finalists as well. While all the other players failed the next round, Wosile kept his head cool and took the round win. Now, if Ayako won, Reflex would advance, and if Dofold won, Mint would advance. But instead, it was Nok who took home the round win. Now, Ins and Nok was both finalists as well. And when it looked like Dofold would secure Team Mint a spot, he missed-aimed the jump, and Nok was able to overtake him. Now, switching map for the last time, we had 3 players waiting for a teammate, all of them being finalists. And the last round showed just how much pressure is on the players in a situation like this. More or less all players made mistakes, but in the end it was Ayako who made the least mistakes and made it to the semi-final with his partner Wosile. In the last quarterfinal we had Carl Jr. and Bren, Revolution and Matt, Arthanir and ZeratoR, and Ben Sword and Zika. And the duo who started the match off the best was the favorite duo going into this event, Bren and Carl Jr. Bren left the map as the leader while Carl Jr. placed 3rd. Revolution and Matt found themselves being the duo with the least amount of points after map 1 was played out. However, Matt having a solid 2nd map allowed him to climb up to 2nd place, just behind Carl Jr., who was now the overall leader. Bren had dropped down to 3rd. On map 3, the Solary duo once again switched placement and Bren was now back in the lead and Carl Jr. was back at 3rd. Matt was still in 2nd, but his teammate Revolution had now climbed up to 4th. On the first round on the 3rd map, Bren drove a super solid time and took home the round win. With his win, he also entered finalist status as the first player. However, in his first attempt, Bren failed while Matt took the win. In his second finalist attempt, Bren showed people why he has been in the grand final of the ZrT Trackmania Cup the last 4 times and became the first player to finish his job. Now he just had to wait for the quadruple champion Carl Jr. to finish his part of the job. And the following round, Carl Jr. was able to win and now also enter finalist status. But even a 4-time champion of the cup can show some human sides, and Carl Jr. failed the end of his first finalist attempt. Instead it was ZeratoR who won. ZeratoR and ZrT now also enter finalist status together with Carl Jr. and Matt. However, in the next attempt, Carl Jr. won the round and secured himself and Bren a spot in the semi-finals. Meanwhile, Revolution had also become a finalist. And the next round ended up being a battle between the two Oh No teammates Revolution and Matt, with the Brazilian coming out on top. Now, a win for the German Revolution would mean that we had our 8 duels for the offline phase of the Cup. And without wasting any time like the stereotypical German, Revolution won the round and concluded the quarterfinals. Now that you had a chance at recapping the qualification, who do you see winning the event? Feel free to use the comment section below.